This is an account of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising through the eyes of its executioner, Jurgen Stroop. Casualty figures should be taken with a grain of salt. The SS was a heavily political organization, and it wouldn't be uncommon for a commander to greatly underreport his own losses and exaggerate the losses of his enemies. However, in this case, based on reports in the courtroom at Nuremberg, the number of Jews apprehended or killed is most likely correct. The largest part of this operation were conducted between April 19th and May 5th. The reports from April are the most detailed. Often there are days where not much happens, and days where a large assault takes place and the report spans multiple pages. The positions on the map are estimates, based on reports and first-hand accounts, and the casualty counts may be inaccurate. On the evening of April the 15th, 1943, Stroop was flagged down by a staff officer, telling him he had a few phone calls from Berlin waiting. When Stroop returned to his quarters, Heinrich Himmler had personally called him. Over the phone, Himmler told him to go to Krakow to meet Obergruppenführer Friedrich Kruger. From there, they would go to Warsaw to report to one Obersturmbannführer Ludwig Hahn. Himmler had grown very weary with SS and Polizeiführer Ferdinand von Samron-Frankenegg. Allegedly, Samron was taking bribes from the last of the Jewish council in the Warsaw Ghetto to delay its liquidation until the Soviets could arrive. But Himmler wanted a birthday present for Hitler. By Sunday the 18th, Samron had caught on to what was occurring, and knew that Stroop's presence couldn't possibly be good for his career. Stroop decided to take a tour of the ghetto incognito, and when he arrived at the Taubenz Schultz factory, he noted to a Wehrmacht supply officer that the workers seemed particularly on edge that day. Perhaps Samron had tipped off the owners of the factory, who in turn tipped off the workers inside. Maybe a Polish Home Army soldier had spotted Stroop in his distinctive riding boots and monocle, knowing something big was happening if the SS police leader for Lviv was in the area with staff and bodyguards in tow. This operation was almost entirely made up of training and reserve troops. The garrison in and around Warsaw was a part of both the 3rd Warsaw SS Panzergrenadier Training Battalion and the SS Cavalry Training and Reserve Battalion, which numbered about 850 men in total. This led to a weird mishmash of highly experienced NCOs assigned to train others, wounded men being retrained before redeployment, aspirant officers under probation, or very green troops. Some of the troops came from units that had large saturations of Dutch, Flemish, and Scandinavian volunteers. There was also a battalion-sized element of Estonians within the reserves of the area. On top of this was a significant force of SS police under the 22nd SS Police Regiment, with the 1st and 3rd battalions in use during this operation. These regiments were firmly under the command and rank structure of the Ordnungspolizei, but received an SS designation sometime in February of 1943. Nominally, they numbered about 200 men. There were also numbers of men from the Technische Nothilfe, a sort of civil defense under the Ordnungspolizei when deployed outside of Germany. They were mostly in charge of ensuring sabotage didn't occur, or if it did, rebuilding bridges and rail lines. Presumably, they were here to assist the discovery of underground connections to the extensive sewer network under the ghetto. There was also a detachment of Sicherheitspolizei as a part of the Internal Security Service, about 35 men. If the Gestapo was like the FBI, the Sicherheitspolizei was the CIA. That's a little ham-fisted and anachronistic, but it gets the point across fairly well. The Wehrmacht assisted and had a good relationship with this operation, as Stroop noted after the war. The Light Anti-Aircraft Alarm Battery 3-8 was deployed along with its 3 2cm flak guns, a detachment of troops from the nearby Armored Train Unit, and a handful of engineers from the nearby Reserve Battalion, which included flamethrowers and 10cm howitzers. The size of the Wehrmacht units in this operation didn't exceed a company-sized element formally. On top of all the German police, there was a significant presence of Polish police involved, called Blue Police. They made up a large portion of the guards outside the ghetto, numbering a little over 350. Tronikis, Askaris, or Hiwis, in this case Latvians, the SS used to their advantage in cruelty. A good portion of the SD and Orpo in charge of the ghettos had picked up a solid amount of Polish in their time. In fact, there is evidence that part of being considered for becoming an SD inspector was knowing another language passably. However, the fresh Tronikis did not speak any Polish and had no real interest in learning Polish, and this was used to brutal effect. The Ukrainian Tronikis had already gathered a reputation in Belarus, being able to carry out executions of Jews with the Einsatzgruppen long after even the most brutal of SS men began to become fatigued with all of the killing, often being motivated by first pick of loot. They were the most plentiful, with close to 350 men, wildly ranging in reliability and quality. This brings the approximate total to 36 officers and 2,054 men. Those of you familiar with NATO units might be surprised at the very large officer-to-enlisted ratio here. The German military, particularly in the Second World War, would rather have senior NCOs do tasks normally reserved for officers in Western militaries, such as lead platoon-sized elements. Handgranate Division has multiple excellent videos on the subject of German ranks and their equivalents. On the Polish side, the ZOB had approximately 500 fighters, while the ZZW had between 250 and 400. The ZOB deployed 22 units of mixed size, ranging from fireteam to platoon-sized elements. Their resources were minuscule compared to the Germans. Each fighter was only given a pistol or rifle, about 15 bullets, and 5 grenades and Molotovs. Not much is known about the ZZW in regards to size or equipment, but it's presumed they had about 4 platoons of men grouping together in 11 units, incorporating some Polish Home Army soldiers.